Hey, how is it going? Hope you're well. I created a tool. It's an AI-centric platform designed to speed up the financial reporting process. Think of it maybe as like a board deck that's interactive. You can talk to it, it's AI-centric, and some of the features it has is an AI-generated month-over-month and budget versus actual commentary. It does the analysis, it does the write-up. I'm going to walk through how that works. It's actually pretty easy. You just click a button, right? So I'm gonna send it off. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm using sandbox data. It's got maybe, I think it's 121 accounts across the profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow. So it's pretty fast. Let's go to the budget versus actual. More or less it's doing the exact same thing. Profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow, hit a button, and we're off. This budget versus actual, this button is sending information to this workflow here. It doesn't look like much is happening because this is an active workflow, so it's just happening behind the scenes. But more or less what it's doing is it's sending all this information in the grid for all three of these items, or all three of the statements, into the workflow. The workflow is processing it, organizing it, and putting it down different paths. These little arrows are sub workflows. So it's going down to profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow sub workflow, and they're working in tandem. In fact, I got 6 of these going on because I'm doing the same exact thing for the month over month analysis. Not a whole lot of action. What we actually want to do is double click into the sub workflow, and that's what I'm going to kind of showcase today. This is the budget versus actual for the profit and loss, but I customized it with this little switch up here to basically just send one item through the loop, one account through the loop, so you can see how fast it works. Let's fire it off and let's go. We're working, we're doing the top. We're now in the loop. We've processed all this and legitimately we're done. It's just so freaking fast. The first time I saw that, I was like, whoa, dude, let's go. It operated in 6.4 seconds and utilized 7,474 tokens, which is about like a quarter of a penny. It's just lightning fast, really cheap. And if you compare to that someone doing this in practice, and you'll understand as I start unpacking a little bit more of the analysis it's doing, I couldn't even start my sentence. I couldn't even like open up my Word doc in like 6 seconds or whatever. So I mean, there's like some real time saving aspects to this workflow. But let me walk through what's going on. Okay, this first step is the preload before the loop. So it basically it's doing this for all 58 accounts going through the loop. There's 3 parts here. The first part is really simple. It's just basically pegging, are you favorable or are you unfavorable? Here, I'll show you. It's like the easiest little code. If you're a revenue account and you're higher, that's good. If you're like an expense, lower is good. And then therefore it's going to give it a status based on the results, right? You can see what actual was, you can see we didn't forecast, unfavorable. It's like the simplest little code, but it helps take the stress off the agent so it can work fast and really just do its job in which we ask. Another important thing it's doing is collecting leaves. It's more like indexing the entire chart of account and its hierarchy. When I created this, and you can see the workflow is actually already done, I wanted collapsibility. I wanted to be able to expand everything. I wanted to be able to drill down. I wanted to be able to roll up and kind of see all the information. And also, it's probably noteworthy to list out that I am analyzing this account right here. Landscape services, actual 798, 516, 281, 54.5, which I sent to my system. Back to the hierarchy thing, the fact that it's there, it actually allows you to send that information to the loop, and as it goes through the loop, it has these little check-ins. And in fact, that's sort of how the loop works, is there's check-ins along its journey, and it adds more information to the loop. But before we get there, the last thing it's doing up front is it's doing a Postgres, it's executing a query in pulling every single spreadsheet that I've put into my database. So I have 15 items that I'm passing through. It can be endless amounts and they can be structured however they want. So we have these 3 things going through the loop, and now we're officially in the loop. This right here is the first check-in, 3 check-ins as it is. Child contribs, that's the most important one. It's who are you? Are you a header? Are you a child account? Are you a total? Because it matters, because if you are a total, what it's going to do is actually going to have a caching mechanism sent to the AI agent in which your summary context is going to be more pointed towards your child contributors. And that's where that indexing thing up front comes handy. The second thing is really just the starter narrative, favorable, unfavorable. It's more or less like what you can see here. This account is favorable by 281 or 54.5%. Actuals at 798 versus 516. It's like the simplest starter, but once again, takes stress off the agent. And then right here is a little flag. It mostly says if you're a header and you don't have any information in there, just skip. There's no point in unpacking it and going down this enriched path, in which we're going to now go down this enriched path. There's an if statement there to basically send things this way or down the enriched path. And this is a revenue account that has enriched data. Step one of this enriched path is to do a Postgres query to get the underlying profit and loss details. So I'll open that up and you can see this specific account has 10 items and you can see the invoice, you can see the client, you can see what it's for, you can see the amount, and all this information is being added to the loop. It's joining the pack, and then it comes to this node right here is called candidate inspector, and it's, hey, account, you look like a document that we have in our database, and let's run a query and let's see what's in there. And that's what's in here. We have basically tables of actualizing a forecast and what was originally forecasted is initially what was tagged. And then once again, we aggregate it, merge it in with the rest of the loop, and then we come to our AI agent where now we have factual information. We have our actual, we have our forecast, we have our amounts, we have our details, we have these tabular documents that we're bringing with it. We organize it, and the agent can really unpack it in quite a fast fashion. Let me just copy this real quick. All right, this is the result. Landscaping service revenue was above forecast by 281, 54.5%. That's some of the preloading that we did. Actual 798 versus 516, stuff that humans can read, but we put in there to the commentary. Growth was supported by top clients, Sushi by Katsuyuki, 240 across 3 invoices relative, Diego Rodriguez 140, and Amy Bird Sanctuary. That's getting stuff from the GL, like the transactional profit and loss details, with most services categorized as weekly gardening. Okay, this is where like the tabular data comes in. Cost per click ran lower than planned, 161 versus 272. Ad spend was 200 versus 232 forecast. The lead conversion rate was stronger at 56 versus 25%. The AOV rose from 89 from 74, driving higher revenue per job and better profitability. Last steps, all it really does is it posts this into my database, and in that database there's an edge function that sends it back to my UI, which we had already seen, and that's the process. Same thing happens month over month, budget versus actual, AI generated. Love to hear your comments, love to know your remarks. Is it what I would write? Maybe, maybe not. I could probably write it better, but the fact that it happened in like 6 seconds, I couldn't, like I mentioned, get even started. And then when you start thinking about how is that as it pertains to fees, right? If I'm going to do a really lengthy enriched comment and it takes me 10, 15 minutes and I charge, $200 an hour, and I'm just putting a metric there, that's a $50 insight, or maybe $30, $40 insight versus like a fraction of a penny. So anyways, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, love to chat, interested in this stuff. I'm going to try to put out as much content as I can, but most importantly, I want you to have a good day.